Okay, so today we're reading a story about the boy who harnessed the wind, and we're going to listen to it, and then we're going to learn about wind turbines. So we're going to watch another video that talks about wind turbines in a minute. So let's listen to this story first. Make sure no one is chatting. Make sure everyone is stayed muted and paying attention.
By William Kamkwamba and Brian Mueller. In a small village in Malawi, where people had no money for lights, nightfall came quickly and hurried poor farmers to bed. But for William, the darkness was best for dreaming. He dreamed of building things and taking them apart, like the trucks with bottle cap wheels parked under his bed and pieces of radio he'd crack open and wonder, if I can hear the music, then where is the band? His grandpa's tales of magic also whispered in the pitch black of his room. Witch planes passed through the window while ghost dancers twisted around the room, as if 100 men were inside their bodies. At dawn in the fields, William scanned the maze rows for magical beings, then wondered as a truck rumbled past, how does its engine make it go? Pay attention where you throw that hoe, his father shouted. You'll cut off your foot. For all its power over dancers and flying things, magic could not bring the rain. Without water, the sun rose angry each morning and scorched the fields, turning the maize into dust. Without food, Malawi began to starve. Soon William's father gathered the children and said, "From now on, we eat only one meal per day. Make it last." In the evenings, they sat around the lantern and ate their handful, watching hungry people pass like spirits along the roads. Money also disappeared with the rain. "Papani," his father said, "I am sorry. You will have to drop out of school." Now William stood on the road and watched the lucky students pass, alone with the monster in his belly and the lump in his throat. For weeks he sulked under the mango tree, until he remembered the library down the road, a gift from the Americans. He found science books filled with brilliant pictures. With his English dictionary close by, William put together how engines moved those big trucks and how radios pulled their music from the sky. But the greatest picture of all was a machine, taller than the tallest tree, with blades like a fan. A giant pinwheel? Something to catch magic? Slowly he built the sentence. Windmills can produce electricity and pump water. He closed his eyes and saw a windmill outside his home, pulling electricity from the breeze and bringing light to the dark valley. He saw the machine drawing cool water from the ground, sending it gushing through the thirsty fields, turning the maize tall and green, even when farmers' prayers for rain went unanswered. This windmill was more than a machine. It was a weapon to fight hunger. "Magetse Mbepo," he whispered. "I will build electric wind." In the junkyard, pieces appeared like rusted treasures in the tall grass. A tractor fan, some pipe, and bearings and bolts that required every muscle to remove. "Tonga," he'd shout to the birds and spiders, holding up his prize. But as William dragged his metals home, people called out, "This boy is masala. Only crazy people play with trash." After many weeks, William arranged his pieces in the dirt. A broken bicycle, rusted bottle caps, and plastic pipe. Even a small generator that powered a headlight on a bike. For 3 days he bolted, banged, and tinkered while chickens squawked and dogs barked, and neighbors shook their heads saying, "What's Masala doing now?" His cousin Jeffrey and best friend Gilbert soon appeared. "Muli Wanji," they greeted. "Can we help with electric wind?" "Grab your pangas and follow me," he said, and took them into the forest. Together they swung their sharp blades into the trunks of the blue gum trees, then hammered them together to make a tower. Standing atop, William shouted, "Bring it up!" while the boys tugged and heaved. A crowd gathered below and gazed at the strange machine that now leaned and wobbled like a clumsy giraffe. Some giggled, others teased, but William waited for the wind. Like always, it came. First a breeze, then a gusting gale. The tower swayed, and the blades spun round. With sore hands once slowed by hunger and darkness, William connected wires to a small bowl, which flickered at first, then surged as bright as the sun. "Tonga," he shouted, "I have made electric wind." "What's el bueno?" a man yelled. "Well done." As the doubters clapped and cheered, William knew he had just begun. Light could not fill empty bellies, but another windmill could soak the dry ground, creating food where once there was none. "Magetsi and Beppo, electric wind can feed my country," William thought. And that was the strongest magic of all. William Kamkwamba was born in 1987 and grew up near the village of Wimbe, located in central Malawi. Like many people in Malawi and the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, William's father, Trawell, was a farmer. The Kamkwambas grew a kind of white sweet corn called maize, which they ate for every meal in the form of porridge called sima. To make extra money for clothes, medicine, and other essentials, they also raised tobacco to sell in the capital city, Lilongwe. Because their only food came from the ground, any problems with weather or changes in the price of seeds or fertilizer could cause serious problems. That's exactly what happened in 2001 and 2002. A severe drought killed most of the maize fields in Malawi, including those of William's father. Within several months, the entire country had run out of food and began to starve, a terrible event known as a famine. Eating only one meal per day, William, his parents, and 6 sisters began losing weight. At one point, his father even went temporarily blind from hunger. The famine killed over 10,000 people in Malawi, including many in Mumbai.
Okay, we're gonna stop here because the story is done. Now, I don't know if you guys know what a wind turbine is or what he made. So I know some of you guys do know. We're gonna watch a quick video that tells us a little bit about these windmills, okay?
We've all seen those creaky old windmills on farms, and although they may seem about as low-tech as you can get, those old windmills are the predecessors for new modern wind turbines that generate electricity. The same wind that used to pump water for cattle is now turning giant wind turbines to power cities and homes. Okay, have a look at this wind farm in the California desert. A hot desert next to tall mountains, an ideal place for a lot of wind. Here's another one on the windy prairies of Wyoming. Now, today's wind turbines are much more complicated machines than the old prairie windmills, but the principle is the same. Both capture the wind's energy. Okay, here's how it works. First, a wind turbine blade works sort of like an airplane wing. Blowing air passes around both sides of the blade. The shape of the blade causes the air pressure to be uneven, higher on one side of the blade and lower on the other. And that's what makes it spin. The uneven pressure causes the blades to spin around the center of the turbine. On the top, there's a weather vane that's connected to a computer to keep the turbine turned into the wind so it captures the most energy. Now, the blades are attached to a shaft, which only turns about 18 revolutions a minute, and that's not nearly fast enough to generate electricity by itself. So, the rotor shaft spins a series of gears that increase the rotation up to about 1,800 revolutions per minute. And at that speed, the generator can produce a lot of electricity. So, why are wind turbines so tall? Well, the higher up you go, the windier it is. More wind naturally means more electricity. And in many cases, larger turbines can also capture wind energy more efficiently. The blades can sweep a circle in the sky as long as a football field. Now, what's really cool is that even a small wind farm, like this one in Wyoming, can generate enough electricity to power more than 9,000 homes. And larger farms can provide much more clean energy for our homes and businesses.
Okay. So we just we read the story, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, and then we just learned a little bit more about wind turbines. Now, there is this advert video we'll watch later, but a world without water or electricity. So in Williams Village, water and electricity were not widely available. So you know how we would go to the bathroom and we turn on the sink and the water comes out. Hi, Tristan. And we would turn on the switch and the light will turn on. Well, in where William's village is, there was no way for him to get any water right away. So he would have to walk miles and miles and miles and miles and then find this river or even a little well to get water and then walk miles and miles and miles and miles back. And to get electricity, he would have to use these wind turbines to get electricity. So it was really hard to. So now let's think about the things you will not be able to do if you did not have water and if you did not have electricity. So think of it. If you didn't have water, what's something that you could not do? Let's start with, go ahead, Eli. Eli, you gotta unmute yourself, sweetie.
Hello, Eli?
All right, we'll come back to Eli. JD, what's something you could not do if you did not have water?
You can't drink water.
Yeah, there's no drinking water. Good. Bernard, go ahead.
You said you could not cook sometimes?
Yeah, you can't cook because you need water to cook. Go ahead, Steven.
If it was like hot, you could not swim.
Oh, yeah, there's no pool for you to swim in. Good. Georgina.
You could not grow crops.
Ooh, you can't grow crops. Yes. So there are plants that need water to grow and you can't grow them. I see another hand. Whose hand did I see? I thought I saw one more hand.
Did
Okay.
you join 5 seconds ago?
Yeah. How about if we didn't have electricity? What are some things that you cannot do if you didn't have electricity? Naomi, go ahead.
You can't play with your phones anymore.
Good. You can't play with your phone because if you don't have phone, you don't have electricity. Go ahead, Donald.
You can't watch TV.
You can't watch TV. Good. Eli, you back? You want to share?
Yeah.
What's something you can't do if you don't have electricity?
We can't have light.
Yes, we can't have light at night. So when you want to like read a book at night, you can't. Steven, go ahead. And I'll go to Bernard and then Mohammed.
You can't cook because like you need electricity.
Mm-hmm. You need electricity and water to cook.
Yeah.
Good. Bernard, go ahead.
If you have like an emergency, you cannot like call someone for help.
Exactly. Like if something happened and you needed to go to the hospital, you can't call them. I saw Mohammed last hand. You gotta unmute yourself, sweetie.
You could not search up stuff in internet.
Yes, you can't search things. You can't play Roblox. You can't play Piggy. You can't do any of that. None of that because there's no internet. You can't do YouTube. You can't do anything. Now, one problem the people in Williams Village had was that they didn't have money or for light. So what did William?
Say one more question. That if you didn't have electricity, just one more. That you couldn't take a shower for all of that.
Yeah, you can't. If there's no water, you can't take a shower. One problem the people in Williams Village had was that they didn't have money for light. So how did William react to the darkness? What was one way? Bianca, go ahead. Sorry, Bianca, you're muted.
He decided to make a windmill.
Yeah, he wanted to create his own light because there was no light in the house. So in the text, it says money also disappeared with the rain. This had an effect on William. Write two other events that happened to William because there was no money. So because William had no money, he had to drop out of school. He had to do, what else did he have to do? Because he had no money. Let's call in somebody I haven't heard from. Sabina.
He could only eat like little of one egg each day. Like he cannot eat so many meals.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot to eat. Good. And what else? One more thing that happened because he didn't have any money. Go ahead, Donald. You gotta unmute yourself, sweetie.
He couldn't. He couldn't. He couldn't work.
He couldn't work. Okay, so he couldn't go to school. He had not a lot to eat, and he had to work, right? He had to build the electricity. So what was the biggest problem the people in William's village faced? One big problem that the entire village faced. Shaya.
They faced
What was the problem?
the problem was that they didn't have enough stuff.
Yeah, they didn't, right? That was one of those big problems, right? They didn't have water, they didn't have money, they didn't have. Good, Stephen, go ahead. I see your hand.
They faced that they had no food.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they had to find their own food.
Good. Yeah, a lot of big problems. We're gonna watch this adverb video. So we know what a verb is. Everyone knows what a verb is. A verb is an action, right? An action is something that you do, like jump, run, swim, and then an adverb describes a
Without
verb.
verbs, we know where we be. No running, no jumping, no climbing of trees. But verbs don't work alone, of course. We need adverbs to tell us more. So if you are dancing, then dancing's the verb. But how, when, or where are you dancing? That's the adverb. Are you gracefully dancing or clumsily dancing? Are you dancing today or do you never dance? Do you dance downstairs or do you dance over there? Adverbs tell us what to do the action. How, when, where, how, when, where.
Okay, so adverb describes the action, like how you're doing something.
Yeah.
Okay.